up? What is up? What is up, fam? Big Ched's in the house. Let's talk crypto, episode 7. Thursday, March 22nd, 2018. Let's talk crypto. I'm here with my good buddy, my main man, Big Jonas. How we doing?
Hey Cheds, how you doing tonight, buddy? Happy to be here. Happy to talk crypto. Great to see everybody in the chat. What up? What up? What up?
What are we doing, folks? How are we doing over there? All right, sorry about that, folks. We're jumping right in here. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a nice rebound here off its lows of a few days ago. We're now, like I was just saying a moment ago, our daily candle is closing here. We're looking at another type of an indecision candle. It's like a big spinning top, but it's not the position we want to see it. So what I see is I see some strength, I see indecision, I'm starting to see some weakness here. Now, it could also suggest a little bit of sideways as well. So this just shows me we're finishing up. Our move up is kind of slowing down a little bit, and it's time for us to pull back and maybe catch our breath. What are you seeing, Big Jonas? What we're seeing here is we're seeing an attempt to bottom. So what we talked about in our update earlier is we had the flagpole up on this initial move, right? Flagpole up, consolidation, flagpole up, consolidation. After this move failed to make a new leg, okay, it came back and it found logical support, right, at prior resistance. And what it made sense to do was potentially rally there. So that's kind of what we're seeing with this spinning top, and we have another kind of just a classic, almost a classic doji. There's a little bit of a body in there, candle body, so it's just going to be a doji. And right here is a nice follow-up, a nice green candle. Not too big a shadow, either upper or lower. So we don't necessarily have our crossing buy signal yet, and there's not a lot of volume. So while it does look appealing, it could easily be a trap. We don't have a follow-up to this, right? We don't have a confirming candle. What we haven't done yet is breach this high. The high here, 87.60. We did breach it, 87.68, but I wasn't able to close above it. So I want to see this breached again, Big Jonas, and I want to see some volume.
Yeah, let's go back to let's stay here at the 4 hour and just kind of look at it one more time here. We were waiting for that reset there on the bottom. You know, as you can see, we were oversold there for several days. And we were talking about this in our previous shows, that until we saw a reset of the 4 hour, especially, you know, we really wouldn't want to put in a position there. And I think we're almost there in the bottom now. You could honestly argue that we may have already bottomed there, but I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, a little bit more downward pressure there. Let's go back to the daily just real quick, just to do a little quick recap there. You know, there is room to run here. You know, again, we had that kind of double bottom there on the daily, and now we're kind of coming to that not overbought yet, but we're kind of approaching that zone there, that zone of bullishness, which we like to see there. So, you know, I think there's still room to run on the upside, and that's what the daily suggests. And, you know, on the daily, our next target is probably going to be that middle Bollinger line, where we might see our first hint of resistance.
Good call, good call. Yeah, I think we're going to see some more sideways for a while. The key is to see with the 4 hour if we're able to hold the support area. Let's quickly look at Litecoin, Ethereum here just before the daily candle closes. So we're starting to see some stability signs. We did talk about a trend line back test earlier, Big Jonas, and once again, this is Ched's here at Big Jonas. We did talk about a trend line back test here. The prior break of this bull pennant setup, we broke it. New flagpole came back. We haven't quite tested it exactly, but we have roughly tested that area. So if you do see, if you do see it fail here again, maybe we get another test around here. So you gotta kind of see. But this, what we're seeing here is another spinning top, right here on the bottom here. It's a little bit of indecision, a little sideways. I think the best thing for this would be to continue to go sideways for another couple hours. So Litecoin looks about the same as Ethereum. Did you want to jump in on that, Big Jonas?
Yeah, just a real quick comment on Ethereum, on Litecoin there. You know, you got to ask yourself, are we channel bound right now? You know, it's acting as the resistance part up there on the 166, on the 170, 174. Tried to pierce that a couple times, and that's where we get that initial rejection here. You know, personally, I'm looking for potentially a better risk versus reward entry right now. Somewhere in the low 150s would be much more of a interesting kind of area to potentially take another position. And I'm liking on the 4 hour how the stocking has reset and basically is in a zone there where you could basically consider, all right, this might not be a bad entry area. And I do like how the OBV is on an uptick there as well. Let's just bump out to the daily just to get a little more of a broader sense here if we could. And we see after yesterday's kind of indecision candle, you know, I mean, it's not, you know, this is a bearish candle today. We basically, you know, ended at a lower price there. Definitely some indecision. Basically, the bulls were able to step in kind of in a little oversold area and brought it back to where we're basically closing right now. And you can see the stocking is showing that the daily definitely still has a little bit of room to run there, but it has kind of changed its angle from a, you know, rocket ship to more of a steady cruise up there to that zone there. So, and the volume, though, there is definitely present. Now, what we are seeing there is a decent sell-off on the OBV there. So I would like to see a stronger OBV even with this pullback in price. And what that's basically suggesting to me is people that are playing this aren't really holding like right on and are basically kind of keeping these quick flips to see where we're going there. And let's take a look at Ether right now. Similar, but yet slightly different pattern here. There's something about Ether that's kind of standing out to me right now. I really like how these candles continue to close at a pretty tight range there. Today's, I'll admit, since the past 5 days here has been kind of the most bearish, you could say. I was looking for a little more continuation in yesterday's kind of slightly green progress there. Let's go to the 4 hour and see where we're at. You know, this is kind of a similar thing to Litecoin and Bitcoin right now. We have a reset playing out right now on the stocking. You know, we were overbought there for several days there. I think a lot of people were waiting for this to kind of reset here, and you know that's not a bad candle compared to what we saw there on playing out right now in this last 4 hour here. So that's a good bullish 4 hour that we're closing in there on Ether.
Great call, Big Jonas. This is Ched's guys. Let's talk crypto. Yeah, I mean Ethereum, same as Litecoin. I don't see a lot of volume yet, so I don't have a lot of confidence that you're going to hold this level. I think it's worth watching here, but we got to kind of see where it goes from here. Just real quick, guys, if you like our content, you want to find me on Twitter, I'm at Big Cheds. Feel free to reach out to me. I do a lot of chart requests, and just, I like to talk to you guys. The blog, chedstrading.blogspot.com. You've probably heard of the Complete Beginner's Guide to Crypto. Kind of any question you have, you should be able to find it in this guide. And if you can't find it, let me know. So that's why it's here. It's here for you. Here for all of us. Subscribe on Twitter. Just real quick, I want to let you guys know, we really enjoy doing this show. I just want to remind everybody that I am just a guy. I like to do charts. I like to discuss my observations, but I'm definitely not an advisor. Really, it's just for fun and educational purposes is what we're doing here. And I'm trying to get better as well. I'm trying to learn. So I enjoy your feedback, and I encourage everyone paper trade. Let's practice trading, not using real money. That way you can kind of dip your toes in the water. Let's go ahead and one of the topics we had talked about, briefly, and we'll jump into some altcoins, was the concept of the death cross and how good a signal it is. And we've been hearing that going on around. And what is a death cross? Now, classically, a death cross means the 200 moving average and the 50 moving average. And it means basically the 50 moving average going below the 200 moving average, which signifies a medium-term bearish price trend versus a historic price trend. But the problem is it doesn't really carry like a signal. You can go ahead and test that signal over the last few years and see what the result was. And what you find is it's not been a reliable indicator of what's going to happen next. So I really don't like, for me, it's lazy TA. Oh, it's golden cross, so I should buy. Oh, it's death cross, so I should sell. I want to know, what does a 1 hour candle look like? I want to know what does daily candle look like. I want to know what the indicators are telling me. I want to make a more educated judgment. So it's like you go to a restaurant, and you really want to go to the restaurant, and I'll just read one review. And I don't really know how good that one review is. It's a guy sometimes his reviews are good, sometimes they aren't. So that's the same thing. Golden cross works, it doesn't. I put it to the people, 60% of people think it's garbage. I do. 40% think it's legit. So there's arguments for and against. And we just want to kind of quickly review some of the reasons why people don't like it. This gentleman says, Mr. Copper Mentality, the last time the 50 EMA, typically a golden cross is an MA, not an EMA. EMA is an exponential moving average versus a regular moving average or a simple moving average. The difference is the exponential moving average has a higher weighting towards the data, the value of the where you are currently, all the closer to the current price action. So it's really a simple moving average across 50 to 200. So the last time the 50 crossed the 200 on the daily chart, it was a long time ago. It's like, okay, yep, it's a lagging indicator. Okay, that's a good point. Let's take a look here. Let's see. Some people say, well, if it works, go with it. Other people say it doesn't work. Let's see here. I mean, you guys can make up your own mind, but there's a lot of arguments here on both sides. I personally am just not impressed with it because, like I've said, I've gone back and tested it. It's not that reliable. I just find it lazy. What do you say, Big Jonas?
Chet, I really can't argue with much of that. It definitely seems to be more of a trend towards, that it's not going to make a huge impact. I think what's interesting about this time right now is that we might actually have an answer to this relatively soon. The way the chart's setting up, there is a probable chance that in the next couple days to a week, we might be approaching that proverbial death cross and see how the market basically reacts to that. And just an example here, remember the last time that BTC had that cross, it ran for 8,000% thereon after. So, and I also remember the Dow a couple of years ago when it crossed its death cross, it had quite a pullback, and then from there I think it ran about 7,000 Dow points. So, could this be a temporary move based on what we call it FUD, trader FUD, kind of seeing how it all plays out? It's possible. It also happens to coincide where the chart's saying right now that we're kind of continuing on this downward trend, this corrective move from our parabolic move that brought us to 19.8. But after that FUD, after that bottoming, it's going to possibly create a tremendous buying opportunity as well. And as a trader, those are those moments you're really waiting for and, hoping to capitalize on if they present themselves.
Let's keep on rolling there, Big Jonas. This is Big Cheds. Let's talk crypto. Let's go to the top highest volume tickers, altcoins, on Binance. We're going to get these out of the way, and we're going to roll right into the chart room chat requests. I know Big Jonas is on the monitoring our chat room. I'm happy to see so many returning people, right? So many friendly faces. Isn't that right, Big Jonas?
Yeah, we're seeing new faces every day, new subscribers here. And, we're really trying to put out excellent content, which means our ideas, our thoughts, our opinions, and then debate that with, everybody else out there. This is a worldwide event that we're playing with here. Everybody across the world has access to crypto in some way and can basically trade it, debate it, study it, learn from it, and see where it can take us in the future.
That's right. So it's Let's Talk Crypto and join the conversation. We want you guys to join the conversation. And if you're listening to us on the replay, feel free to reach out and let us know via the comments, and as well as find me on Twitter at BigChed. We're going to start with ICX, which we seem to talk about ICX pretty much every day. It had a lot of volume here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this closing candle here, Big Jonas. So we have, looks like we had some of a pennant here drawn in. Let's see, is this okay, that's the brand new candle. So we finished with a pretty decent candle. There is a bit of a sell-off with the upper wick, but you still held a lot of the gains, and impressively, you're able to hold this far above the Bollinger. So that's that's not bad. You might be able to force some sideways. What do you think?
Yeah, this chart has really tremendous price action over the past several days here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green candles. I mean, what an amazing run. Congrats to those who were able to get in the low 2200 range Satoshi-wise. Boom, boom, boom. Actually, let's go back to the daily real quickly there. I wanted to make a quick comment on how the daily candle closed there. So what do we see there? We basically see a wick. We were higher. The bears stepped in, kind of pulled us down a little bit. Now, the previous day, we also had a wick, which was suggesting, maybe today or yesterday now was going to be that pullback day. But we were able to push through. But look where we are on the stock and RSI there. We are very topped off there. We've been there for a couple days now, and now we're basically caught up at the very top there. Let's bring it down to the 4-hour. There we go. And basically in the 4-hour, same deal. We rolled the upper Bollinger for the past day and a half there. A little consolidation there. Almost feels like we want to kind of touch that upper Bollinger again, see if there's more oomph there. But what you can see is the stock is on its move, ready to reset there. And that's what I'm liking to see there. Wouldn't be surprised if the middle Bollinger is our next target there.
Yeah, this looks pretty good. And you're mostly holding your gains, Big Jonas, while the stock is resetting. So I think that looks pretty good here. So we'll kind of wait and see. We have essentially here a back test. I'm guessing this line's drawn in the 1-hour method. It's a tiny bit off, but you get the gist of what this trend line is. So if we can kind of hold this area, you'd be in good shape. Your 1 hour is running out of a little bit of room, but the 4-hour is resetting nicely. So we'll wait and see. You might see some sideways. Let's go number 2 real quick is EOS. I know we touched on EOS on our earlier meeting, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull it up. I had it on a different watch list. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up right now. And EOS was pretty hot, and this is what we had drawn here nicely, so when it did it. So you had the initial flagpole pennant, and you had a little break here. And it's kind of doing another little pennant here within it. So that's kind of interesting. So here's our 4-hour, and the 4-hour is telling us it's kind of hanging in there. It's really hot, and you could go up. You could go up here to this upper Bollinger. You could retest this line. You could retest this line here. It's churning nicely up. See this? It's churning nicely up. There's no danger sign. You're right. There's no danger signs yet, right? That just sticks out to me, Big Jonas. How about you?
The first thing that I'm noticing here is the consistent price volume almost increasing, and with the buys there, it's telling me that money flow is here. A lot of traders have an eye on this one. We've been riding this upper Bollinger here basically the past couple days, and we haven't really been overbought on the stock and RSI on the 4-hour, which I really like. That basically shows continued movement up. The question is, do we have one more pump here? One more flag, one more bullish flag to put in on this move. This has been a great runner. Let's just go to the 1 hour, kind of see what we are in there in the kind of short term there. And, we're definitely holding these levels. We're going sideways there. We like to see that kind of a little consolidation. Let's kind of catch our breath here. OBB has been very strong the past several days. And because because the stock RSI has crossed over bullish again, I wouldn't be surprised if this has some more room in it. But let's see if some sideways action allow it to catch its breath. It's had such a massive run. We kind of pierced the lower Bollinger a few hours ago, and right when we got a little oversold there, boom, the bulls kicked back in. So this one definitely has some money flow coming in. It's always what you like to see in these alts especially, and this might have some more running room.
Yeah, I know this is a hot one today, and people were talking about it, a lot of play. We have Ether, so we did Ether chart. Let's do TRX, and we'll do a quick update on the majors. We'll go to the altcoins. TRX, see how we're doing. TRX, so the 4 hours trying to reset. We might have talked about this before. It looks like it's nicely holding the middle Bollinger. So you had this long-legged doji here, which is a potential sign that the downtrend's losing strength. You follow it up with your spinning top, bullish spinning top, and then this beautiful green candle. Not quite a Maribozu, but it's a nice candle. And that's where you're at. So you finished this nicely. So 4 hour is looking good. Excuse me. But given Big Jonas, and this is Ched's, by the way, and given Big Jonas, how you went from essentially the bottom of this consolidation area all the way back to the top in just that one period, I'd want to look at the 1 hour to see if it's a little hot, and boom, there it is. So even though it looks like really cool in the 4 hour, this tells me it might come back to like 420 area, maybe 425 before. If it's going to continue and I wanted to get in, it might come back to maybe this lower wick area here. What do you see that's here in TRX?
Well, I'm always a fan of anything in the 420 area myself. But on the 1 hour there, as you said, we broke through the lower Bollinger there, and then boom, the bulls stepped in. That's a great sign. That basically shows you there that we have a bullish engulfing there in the 1 hour. This one still has momentum, and as you mentioned, we're starting to get the little topped off there on the 1 hour. But I like to see, and this is basically an example here of a slightly falling wedge, which actually is a bullish indicator there. Bull pennant, slight falling. We kind of consolidate, and then we got that last candle there. Let's put the daily just to get a larger sense of where we're at and where we could be going here. All right, so this is very interesting here. We have a lot of sideways action moving there. We have a closer pinch there, and look at that. We are actually in the overbought range here of our stock in. You see what happened when we were overbought last time. We basically came way back down, and then right when we were super oversold, that's where a lot of those bulls stepped in. So right now we're overbought. Now we could be up here for several days. We could continue this price action. It almost looks like it's still kind of a sideways, slightly bullish pennant still. How much does the price action of Bitcoin factor in on this one? Time will tell, but as long as we're seeing some money flow, that's what you want to see.
I think you have to see Big Jonas for a reversal. So for this to turn around on a technical basis, so what are we looking at here, Big Jonas? I'm looking at lower highs, right? Right here, one high, lower high, lower high. So what you now need to start doing is putting in higher lows. So if you can make this a low, okay, and if this has enough strength to reconsolidate and maybe put in a new higher low like here, then maybe, see what I'm saying? Then maybe it can turn around. Because you are overbought, you're overextended. This tells you have to pull back. You're going to pull back. Even if you jump up to here and retest this area and fail, it's going to pull back. So we want to see a higher low, ideally right in about this area right here, probably in about a week. That's my guess. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the GDAX. I want Big Jonas, give us a flavor of the sentiment on three major coins right now. Why don't you start with Bitcoin?
It's very important to check out what we used to call level 2 in the stock world, but is now called depth chart. And basically that gives you a better sense of where the money is. Personally, I use the GDAX account for trading the majors. I know a lot of you guys use other ones, Binance, and other countries even allow other ones where places in the USA don't. But this kind of gives you a really good idea about where the money is parked, and that can give you really a sense of what's going on there. If we can kind of zoom out here on the depth chart and get a sense here, let's see what's going on a little more. Okay, so right there, this is what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing kind of not a bullish and yet not a bearish pattern there. We have money parked on both sides. We basically have a system that basically says the market really isn't sure where it's going. It definitely does have the money flow and momentum to push it higher, but the bears are still there ready to pounce. Before we've had this recent uptrend, we were on the downtrend. You saw most of the money parked, in the low 7,000 range and much lower. You didn't see a lot of money parked up higher because the market knew where we were going to go. We bottomed out over the past few days. This is similar to what the depth chart is we've been seeing over the past few days there. kind of a split between those who were able to get it in the low 7s to 8s and trying to put their sells in the high 8s and high 9s. So I'm basically seeing money more or less equally positioned on both sides now. And to me, that's actually bullish, because that basically tells me that the bears haven't taken over. The bulls are still in play, and that's something you want to see. Let's check out Litecoin real fast here. Now, a couple of things I notice here. Let's go to the 6 hour real fast if we could up here. Yeah. So several hours ago, I wanted to see if we were going to put in a higher low on the 6 hour, because what I wanted to see is that double tap. We were down in the 160s. We kind of rose to 165 range, and I wanted to see a double tap test, and a test that put in a higher low. And we didn't get that. Actually, if you look at the second to last 6 hour candle there, where we closed at so the low was 160.11, and the one before that was 160.50. So we actually put in a lower high, a lower low on the previous 6 hour candle. Now, it's just the wick, it's just the tip, and in theory, that doesn't necessarily negate our bullish momentum there. So, you know, it's actually slightly more bearish than Bitcoin has been, and we'll see where we go from there. Let's just do a little minus there and see where the money is. And you know, this is kind of a slightly more bearish depth chart here. I'm actually seeing a lot of the money parked in the low 150s or lower. You know, personally, I'm sitting in the low 150s to maybe scoop up a scalp. If we get to that 150s range from our current price point, that basically tells me that we hit a nice wick candle down and are potentially in that oversold area where you like to take a position in. And a quick look at Ether. Excellent. Now, you know, Ether's been moving a little sideways there. You know, we bottomed out at 450 range. We came up to 550, even more than that. And I like this sideways action here. The 6 hour is telling me two things. I like the tight price action here. Kind of have a double indecision doji. I really wouldn't call the previous 6 hour a hammer candle by any means. Let's go to the daily just to get a sense of where we close in the day. And, you know, I don't know what you call that. I mean, the previous one kind of a bearish engulfing slightly just because we kind of had a shooting star the previous day there. The L2 is actually also slightly bearish, more in line with what Litecoin's L2 looks like. So right now of the three, let's just kind of keep our mouse right there. Perfect. Nope, keep the mouse right there. Excellent. So basically what you're seeing in there is Ether is clear lagger on the 24-hour period, down 4%. Litecoin's doing a little bit better, only down 3%. And Bitcoin is actually running the pack here. So even though there's red across the board, Bitcoin has actually held up a little better than the other ones.
All right. Big Jonas, thank you. Big Jonas, why don't you take a look at the chat room and start to grab a couple requests and get ready. I'm just going to quickly scan here for everybody. This is Big Sheds coming to you here on Let's Talk Crypto. Episode 7, I'm just going to quickly scan the coin market cap. We are currently sitting at a 335 billion market cap, 15 billion volume, up from a little bit from a couple days ago. And Big Jonas is looking at your requests, guys. We're going to start taking those requests. I'm just checking out here, see anything jumps out. On the front page, Verge had a pretty good day. Here, look at that, up 12%. So maybe we'll end up doing Verge. This is a cool little thing, guys, at coinmarketcap.com. Gives you this little price graph. I hate using the word graph. You guys know that. 7-day chart, and you can quickly just scan these to see, you know, who's doing what. You know, most of the time they're going to have the same chart. You see, all these are all the same. You're looking for divergence, guys. You're looking to see which ones are moving differently. So this one, which is ONT, for example, you can see how this is kind of underperforming its peers. Underperforming the other ones. You can kind of look at that. You know, if you're a bottom feeder, you can look for the ones that are underperforming. You can look for ones maybe that are about to hit a support level and stuff like that. So it's a neat little tool. Like this one right here. What is that? Dental coin, whatever, DCN. You can see how it's kind of testing support. So who knows? In any event, you know, any day of the week. So what do we got here in the chat room, my friend Big Jonas? Why don't we get us started in the chat room?
Love to seeing a lot of the action and debate in the chat room tonight, guys. A lot of new faces, a lot of old faces. Glad to see everybody back. Let's take a look here. Okay, let's start with, let's see, we did ICX, we did that one here. A couple of Verge guys talking about Verge, some big news, some pitching news. So we'll start with Verge. Our old friend Verge, who's asking for Verge there? So what's up, Day Trade Tour? A couple guys looking for Verge. I guess there's some, monkey news out. I don't know if it's a pump or not. These are things that move all the time. But let's see what we got in the Verge chart.
Oh, thank you, Big Jonas. So Verge finished up here with a pretty nice little day. We have a nice response here after forming our bottom, where we were able to, hold the bottom here when we have this long-legged doji. We had a nice follow-up here. A little scare, kind of a fake out. With you have a bearish harami spinning top kind of fake out, but you followed up here, and the volume is notable yesterday. So I want to zoom in and take a look at Verge and see what's going on. I'm going to go from the daily to a 4-hour, and I see all this volume happen in that 4-hour. I got to go closer because it looks like it's happening right now. It looks like it's happening right as we speak. So this is kind of interesting. So what happened was everything sideways. Some guy, probably either news came out or some guy was like, all right, code word for tonight is Verge. We're going to pump Verge, right? So Verge pumps. It goes 370 to 340. Okay, that's 70. That's like a 20% move. That's kind of crazy. So you go up here. You're like, that's crazy. It's overbought. Boom. It goes all the way from 430 to its high of 495. Rejected at 500. Why? Why 500? I'm sure back here there's a reason. If we go all the way back, I won't bore you, but it ran right into here, into this trouble, this area right here. So in any case, what you see here is a up along what's called an upper shadow or an upper wick. And you're like, that's not good. And then you have a follow-up candle. This is called a spinning top candle, okay? And this is a bearish spinning top. And you can look at this. What's the context of it? It's coming at the end of an uptrend with a long upper shadow. And we're already starting to get follow-up here. So we're only 20 minutes into this hour. This is a cue here to take profit, Big Jonas. That's what I see. What do you see on XVG?
Yeah, I mean, the hourly is very overbought there. This is a very crazy move here. Whenever I see spikes like this is scary stuff because basically, if you're an inexperienced trader, if you're someone that just sees where the volume's coming in, this is one of those ones that you just want to like, wow, this is exploding, and I want to be in on this. And most of the smart money, most people are already in on this one. So if you're tempted to get in this one now, sure, it might have legs, but this feels to me like reaction based on some sort of a news event pump, some sort of a coordinated push. This isn't an area where it feels like we're bottomed out now or we're oversold. Because of this move, because of this price action, this feels a little more pumpish, and what you're seeing now is the deflation beginning here, slowly but surely. And what you want to keep an eye on here is what kind of volume is coming in. Are we already played out with the volume? Because right now we're kind of falling off the cliff now on the volume in the past 15 minutes. That's why our price is depleting. So if there is this other push, if there is this kind of second leg for Verge coming in, definitely people are trying to wait their time. Maybe they're waiting, for a lower price to kind of push it there. We kind of see a little support resistance up back in the 420 area, my favorite. And we're going to see if we're going to be channel bound. I wouldn't be surprised in the 15-minute at least we kind of test that support trend, maybe even the middle Bollinger. Let's just quick jump back to the 4-hour here, and then we'll move on to the next one. And yeah, I mean, this is just telling you here that, I wouldn't touch this one with a 10-foot pole right now just to see where it plays out. This one ran so quickly in the 4-hour, as you said, Cheds. I wouldn't be surprised if we come back, and we might find support in this historic area there, basically under 400 Satoshi.
Yeah, I think what you want to do here, if you're not playing it, I wouldn't jump in, but I think you'd want to do, it's going to pull back. 15-minute clearly shows it's pulling back. So this is in the 4-hour, I'd be looking at 400. When I went in the 15-minute, I track these a lot in these pumps, and you're looking for strength. If the pump has extra strength, you're going to rally here when the stochastic resets at a middle Bollinger. You have a similar support area with these candles, a little bit of price action. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to hold. So I'd be looking for secondary level, which happens to be this line at 400. Let's go ahead and get the next one in the chat room, Big Jonas. And this is Big Cheds coming to you. Let's Talk Crypto. I'm on Twitter at Big Cheds. The blog, chedstrading.blogstock.com. You got to read this article on trader psychology. I've done about 50 polls, and I talk about different ways to approach the game, and you can see who thinks what and why they think it. It's really cool. And the channel trade, if you want to, what does it mean? What's a scalp? How do you flip? I have a great article here called Channel Trading and Beer Money. People often, say, oh, you shouldn't flip. It's only for, $50 is beer money. Well, $50, that's $50. It's a dinner. So I don't make fun of beer money. I think beer money is legit. And the beginner's guide. I wrote it for you guys, and it's a living document. Let's make it better together. Big Jonas, what do we have for the next request in the chat room?
Gerald B. All right, what's up, buddy? How you doing tonight? I got a request here for ENG from Gerald B.
Okay, Gerald B. I'm going to start out in the 4 hour, and we'll go to the daily if it's applicable. What we're seeing is a little bit of a stair step. We have recovered from a downtrend. We're attempting to recover from a downtrend. You are running into a little trouble here after you went a price movement outside of the standard deviation, which means you kind of went too far too fast. Okay. So even if, that's why you see a stair step, because even if you're going to go from 1 to 100, you got to go 1 to 20, back to 16 to 28 to 22, then up to 35, then you come back to 30. That's how it works. So you went here, you pulled back, you found support, you went up again. So we're kind of doing what we did here. So now my question on the 4 hour would be, can you hold support? Simply put, I just look at it simply that way, because up here you have some danger signs. You have pretty good on-balance volume, but you have a potentially mid to upper channel stochastics, which means if you start to go down, you can go down for a good 12 hours before you find bottom. What do you see?
Yeah, the 4 hour stochastic is really a great indicator there. And after being topped off for so long, I want to see a full reset on that. And we didn't have that. We're actually still very bullish, and we kind of leveled off on the 4 hour there. So is it going to put in that next leg? Personally, I'd rather wait and see if we can bottom on the 4 hour completely before that next leg is up. I do like the money flow. It seems to be pretty consistent. And quickly to the 1 hour here, just get a little more sense of where we're looking at here. Yeah, see, we have a double tweezer top on the 1 hour, and we're also way outside the upper Bollinger. It's a classic overbought signal there, super topped off on the 1 hour there on the stocking. But I do like how the OBV is holding up pretty well. You can almost put in a decent trend there. So we are seeing some consolidation, and the volume, as long as the volume stays strong here, this coin could be in play.
All right, what's the next one here? My good friend, this is Big Cheds, and that was Big Jonas with his excellent analysis. What is the next one up?
All right, we got a couple requests here for our old friend Waltonchain. What's up, Joseph? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. A couple other fellows here were also asking you about Waltonchain, so let's look at Waltonchain.
All right, Big Ched's coming live here. Waltonchain. So Waltonchain, we zoom out. It's been really looking for a bottom. It's been trying to catch a bottom. The 4 hour looks like it might be kind of getting there, because you have a very interesting set of candles. After this large, just ugly red candle, you have your bullish spinning top. You have essentially inverted hammer, a little bit of an inverted hammer. Then you have your hammer, and then you have another candle forming here, which is kind of a little more sideways. So you got a doji. So you need to go sideways before you can go up. And we're seeing that potentially happening right now. The reason why I think that is you have the stochastics here in the right position. So we had it happen here a little bit, came down, went sideways, and went up. And now we're potentially putting in a higher low, potentially. So that's kind of what I see. I see you want to watch and see. I'd like to see this put in a nice green wick. I'd like to see it break, a green candle. I'd like to see it break this high of 15,273 before I'd start to get interested.
Yeah, I really like the price action on this one. In the past, on the 4 hour chart here, we're really sticking on this 14,900 to 15,000 Satoshi range. We've completely reset on the 4 hour stocking. I've been down there for a while. The longer we're in that oversold area on the stocking RSI, the more tempting it feels, because not only we oversold briefly, we've been oversold for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if this one's reset, and I wouldn't be surprised with enough volume that this could push a little farther. Let's go to the daily just to get a little more of a sense of where we are and where we might be going here. So, we've been in this kind of consolidation downtrend for quite a while here, riding kind of the middle to lower Bollinger there on the daily. The stocking's kind of in this indecision, slightly bullish, slightly bearish, keeps on turning over there. OBV's been relatively decent, but kind of lagging. And the question is, are we kind of get ourselves back in this area here? Now, this is a great example of here. When we went parabolic, these three big candles here we experienced back in the first of the new year, that went straight up, which means coming down, there's not a lot of support there. So once we break this area, if we are still to fall, we're going to torpedo pretty quickly because there's no support there. The higher it went in this area here, the quicker equally it can fall down until it finds support.
That's a great call, and I just drew this really quickly, Big Jonas, but it actually plays out. So on this pull-up, on this big move here, when you pull back and you have these two spinning tops, bullish spinning tops, this was your support line. Interestingly enough, on this pullback, you see how it held this area? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So when it broke this, when it closed below this line, even if you just started here and here, and it moved up here, and now it's coming back, and and you see it holding, you want to see it hold this line. It broke it, it lost it. So that, even though the on balance is strong, the volume is weak. So that's, I think this might test some of this lower support. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. What do we have next here in the chat room, my friend?
All right, what's up, my man Nick Henry? Let's see some NCASH. NCASH.
All right, Nick Henry. We're going to go NCASH on a 4-hour, Nick Henry. The 4-hour looks pretty decent. I've got a Bollinger Band pinch, which means the Bollinger Bands are really close together, and usually that happens just prior to a move. It started to pinch here, and then it went down. So we're, and it pinched here, took a while, it pinched, finally did something. But here, it basically means it's getting ready to make a move because there's not a lot of volatility. Your indicator is reset here, so you're in a position to move, and you're getting some decent sideways candles. It's not like overwhelming strength, but it's not bad. You could be putting in your higher low, which is what you want to see, low and low, right? So 1, 2. This could be your third higher low, potentially. So that's what I am seeing. I'm just going to go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. It could be just a 1, could be a 2, and this could be your third higher low. So what are you seeing, Big Jonas?
Yeah, this one definitely has some action. It has, it's low, but it's consistent volume. The OBV isn't terrible on the 4-hour. We're resetting here. We've kind of been going in this kind of sideways channel for quite a while. Once again, another alt with a parabolic move, super overbought, way outside the upper Bollinger on the 4-hour. Let's go to the daily just to get a little more of a sense of where we're at and where we could be going. Now I remember this one. Okay, so it's going to zoom out a little bit here, and there we go. And this is one of those ones that, when a coin is newly added to an exchange, you always want to hold off and see where the market can find its legitimate price action. I remember we were both a little surprised this one was able to find that so quickly, only being on the exchange maybe 10, 12 days before it potentially bottomed, because we are consistently putting in these higher highs as we consolidate. The daily stock and RSI is basically saying that, we're kind of not overbought, not oversold, kind of playing around there. And the OBV really is strong throughout. This one is still being accumulated, and people definitely seem to be holding on here. So this one, it's still very young in its life, basically. That's always a little scary for me. I would like to see this kind of get a lot lower just to kind of see where it's at and kind of see where this plays out. But for now, for the short term here, it's kind of a bullish chart. And the fact the OBV is still pretty strong, until we lose that, until you see the OBV significantly drop, this one is seeming to continually be accumulated. And that's definitely a bullish sign.
All right, let's go on to the next one. Yeah, I mean, you want to see higher lows. So that's what you guys are looking for. Big Jonas, what's up next in the chat room?
What's up, Red Black Black and Joseph? Once again, there we got a couple requests here for ADA, our old friend Cardano. We talk about ADA a lot. What's up, Min Brian JT? ADA also a big fan there. We talk about ADA a lot the past several shows here. It's one of those coins that top 10 coin in terms of market cap, a lot of volatility. Let's see what we got.
Well, why don't you start us out here, Big Jonas? I got the 4-hour ADA in front of us. What are you seeing?
Well, I'm seeing a heartbeat here. I mean, basically, we have consistent volume. We were overbought for a while, but we had that initial bottoming, and we basically reset our 4-hour, which I love seeing. It could have come down a little bit lower. We could have had a little more lower there, but the 4-hour with these wicks here are telling me, maybe we have bottomed. Maybe the market's telling us, because basically we tried to pierce that 2200, broke it both times, and the bulls came back, closed higher, went up a little too fast there. That's why we had that other wick on the top, basically saying not so fast. Let's go sideways for a while. Let's consolidate this price action here. The volume is strong. This one had a massive run. I think we topped that around 9,000 Satoshi. So I'm liking the price action here. But the question is this going to kind of follow with what Bitcoin does? These are the things. You want to look for divergence in some of these coins. You want to see ones that move forward when Bitcoin doesn't move back as much.
All right, I think it's a good call. I think you're right to point out ADA's trying to recover here. I'm just going to quickly look. What points out to me is we are bottoming here on the 4-hour, but I'm not convinced that this isn't doing like a bear pennant. Looks like we're having a little trouble here at the middle Bollinger. We're heading towards a pinch. So we'll kind of wait and see. I would probably look to see for this to come back to right around this area and wait and see. I believe it will probably test this area. So we'll wait and see if that happens, in my opinion. What do you see next on the chat room, my friend?
Yeah, I think we have time for a few more alts to take a look at. You know, we really like to look at all the alts possible. You know, there's 1,500 of them out there plus. You know, some of them have no volume, and some of them are really the important ones that are going to be big players in years to come. So let's look at DNT there. We got a couple of shout outs there from Mr. Edward, Mr. World UFO. Great to see you guys here on the chat tonight. A couple other fellows here looking for that. So let's go some DNT.
Oh, thank you. District OX. Does this one work off the ZRX platform? The OX. I wonder if this is a token that works off that platform. Yeah, so I'm not liking this action up here with these upper shadows, but it's not too bad because we're essentially going sideways while our indicator, our channel indicator, stochastics, is resetting. So it looks okay. The volume is light. On-balance volume is good. So you really want to see if this can maintain, higher lows. So that's kind of what the name of the game is. You go one higher low, you got another higher low here. You know, I guess that's a low too. So you got to kind of wait and see what happens. It could hold it. It could keep going. So like if it fails this area, you want to see, does it maintain this higher low? Is it able to hold that? And if it does, and while this resets, you'll be in good shape. What do you think, Big Jonas?
Yeah, I agree. The thing that really sticks out here on the 4 hour is how long those wicks are. I mean, you know, you had a lot of bullish momentum really trying to push that higher, and it got rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And I was like, all right, I give up. But we're not falling. This one really has some bullish momentum. The volume is kind of poopy, but I like the OBV, which is basically saying that this one could be a player. And, you know, I'm seeing some people basically agreeing that this does have some sort of correlation with our other friend there, ZRX, which is part of the OX platform, OX community. We just want to do a quick ZRX.
Yeah. I mean, so ZRX, we still have this really nice long-term downtrend break here, and looks like we had a nice pull-up, and now this is a decent little area. It looks like it's consolidating here. We want to make sure it does not form a head and shoulders, potentially, where this would be the head, this would be the left shoulder, this would be the right shoulder. But it looks good because you have this still an uptrend in the on-balance volume while this is resetting. So I actually think this looks pretty good if it can hold here in the next 4 to 6 hours. I like how this is developing. How about you, Big Jonas?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of ZRX. I really like the technology behind it and some of the players behind it. You know, this is one that really had quite a solid pullback. And similarly may have bottomed when we were having this recent Bitcoin run. Overbought in the 4 hour for quite some time on that super impulse wave up there. Kind of expected a pullback, and we're kind of seeing it right now. 4 hour definitely still has a little bit more room to reset here. And that's kind of what I would expect. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more downward pressure. Maybe we test that middle Bollinger there, which would basically put the 4 hour in that oversold position. And I do like the steady flow of OBV rising there.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go all the way down to the middle Bollinger. I might almost like a confirmed neck, head and shoulders here, right? If it did that, because that would be breaking the neckline down if it did that. But we'll see. I think it holds in. I kind of like it. Let's real quick go to Bitcoin, and then we're gonna jump back. What do you want to do, Big Jonas? Let's do an alt real quick. Okay. What do you have in the chat room, my friend?
All right, and one more time, guys. It's great to see all the activity, all of our fans here on the chat room. Nice debate here. We're going to finish with Qtum, Quantum there. We've got a lot of requests there. Good to see Coma Post. Dumbledore, Von Doom. Yeah, great one there. A lot of options for that. And let's get us, what's up, Beachobe? What's up, my brother? And Marcus O'Gannon. Great to see you tonight. Take a look at some Qtum.
Okay. Qtum. Almost sounds like, you know, when you go to the doctor and they give you a prescription for something. We'll take some Qtum. Here we go. On Binance, Qtum. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So you made a nice move, Big Jonas, here, right? And you're consolidating. But it was really nice. It wasn't drastic. See how kind of like a soft landing? This is like a real nice soft landing. And here is our signal candlestick. This is a classic, it's called a classic doji, where there's no body, right? It's just an open and close at the same price and a very small shadow in either direction in this case. That was a nice signal. And we're starting to see follow through on that signal. So this actually, just based on the candlesticks and the indicators, this oscillator here, the on balance, and the stochastic RSI, this looks pretty good actually to test. This suggests that you're probably going to test 25. What do you see?
Yeah, I'm agreeing. I love the heartbeat of this chart here. You know, you want to see a chart that makes sense. You don't want to see drastic impulsive moves. If we have a super impulsive wave up, like some of the charts we looked at earlier, you know, it's not a healthy chart. You know, it's one of those things that as soon as it goes up, it could come back down because there's no support there. This had a really strong impulse wave up when it bottomed, had a kind of confirmed bottom there where you pointed out on the arrow, and had several 4-hour candles. I mean, what a super strong move that was. Kind of topped out there, a little reset, tried again, failed. And basically, most of that had to do with we were just way overbought there on the stock. You know, that kind of coincided with a super top off there and lots of wicks accordingly. And I love the fact that we're consolidating in a nice steady pace, allowing the Bollingers to catch up. Remember, guys, with the Bollinger Bands, the closer they are, that signifies that the move is coming. Hopefully this one is going to push that and push it to a higher point like the OBV, and we're almost resetting the 4-hour.
This is a great, and guys, this is Ched's, and that was Big Jonas here. We're here on Let's Talk Crypto episode 7. Look at this. People, you know, oftentimes when it's overbought on the stochastics, look where you were. You were overbought on stochastics at 1,600, and you went to 2,600. So look, that's so strong. You were this whole time you're overbought and you kept going. So that's how you never know that if there's enough momentum and enough volume, you can still keep going. So that's something you have to ask yourself when you're trying to maybe break a rule of buying something that technically looks overbought. Does it have enough strength? Does it have enough momentum? I'm going to quickly look here on the Bitcoin chart. On the 4 hours, looking pretty good. I like these candles here. I like this. It really, I mean, it could just be forming a bear flag. We don't know that, and you see clearly, you see a bear flag on the 1 hour chart. It's just a question of what it's going to do. So what I want to just quickly do is kind of intimate for you guys what I'm seeing and allow me to fix this. I'm going to hand the mic to Big Jonas while I fix these trend lines.
I actually agree. I mean, I'm liking the price action here. I was actually hoping that Bitcoin would take a little bit more of a dip this afternoon, closer to the 8,200 range. We didn't really get that low. And I'm a little cautious here on this move here. You know, we see the 1 hour is not overbought yet, but kind of on its way. The volume still very low, which is kind of concerning, and the OBV not so great as well. Let's go out to the 4 hour here. We'll quickly get a little bit more of a sense here. Now, I love the reset here on the 4 hour. You know, we were so overbought for a very long time. That kind of brought us our impulse wave up. We were really looking for, if Bitcoin was going to make its next move up, maybe towards that 9.5 to even 10 range, we needed to reset on the 4 hour. I'd say we're doing that now. You know, could this be the reset? Could this be the bottom of this current trend that's going to push us over 9.5 and push us to that 10 range? It's very possible the bottom for this certain impulse wave is in. But who knows? I mean, there's still room for this to come down and reset. You know, we could touch the lower Bollinger, which would put us kind of in that 8.3, 8.2 range, which is what I'm looking at there on the 4 hours. Go to the daily real quickly and just recap where we ended yesterday. Kind of a bearish indecision candle there. You know, we wanted to see the reset there, but we're overbought on the daily. Now, we can stay up here overbought on the daily for a while. We've seen that several times in Bitcoin, where we've hovered up overbought on the daily for several days, especially in our bullish moves there. But you always want to see that reset happen, because that's going to signify that we have enough oomph to take that next leg up. Because we're so overbought here on the daily, or we're kind of in that zone, you know, these are those times that as a trader, you want to keep your stop losses tight and keep your expectations low. If you are up on your trade, you know, taking profit is always important because it allows you to play that next play.
I like it. I like it. You want to be open-minded, keep your expectations low. Yeah, I think, I mean, technically we're overbought, but I think you might be able to force some sideways here. We've talked about that. because as you rightly pointed out, we are looking at a reset on the 4-hour. So there's, we want to talk about patterns. What pattern are we in? In the daily chart, we're in a large bull pennant. On the daily chart, we're nearing our pivot. We are range bound in between the lower and the upper closing candle trend line on the daily. We are range bound. We are currently now responding to a bounce and a hold of the lower trend line with the close here 4 days ago. 3 nice candles. We had a slow down doji and another sideways potentially doji. We have our 4-hour reset. Inside the 4-hour reset pattern, we are detecting a bearish flag. Now, this bearish flag pattern isn't strong. We don't have that many points to it, either on the upper or lower trend. We do have a couple clues. We do have our stochastics RSI overbought, but we have seen that this could run for a long time as overbought. We have a kind of inconclusive on-balance volume. At least we're not seeing this drop any lower. I would say if you see the on-balance volume dipping below this line right here, that's going to be a sign that something's coming to the downside. So if you are just watching this on the 1-hour chart, if we lose this area of support, which is probably going to coincide with breaking this down here if that happens, that's what you want to watch out for in Bitcoin, folks. We're currently in a no trade zone until this kind of reveals itself one way or another. If you are bullish, you want it to go sideways for a while. That's what I think. Litecoin is going to be roughly the same. We are currently somewhat range bound between this trend line, which is the prior break, the prior resistance, which is now a support trend line. And we have this upper trend line. So we're range bound with a couple other areas to watch. Our middle Bollinger Band support, our lower and upper Bollinger Band areas. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We're range bound, folks. And I'm going to say probably the same for Ethereum. Little different. Little bit different. It's a little bullish, but we're kind of reaching overbought on weak volume and a declining stochastics RSI. We are seeing actually a bearish divergence, Big Jonas, and this is Big Ched. We are seeing a bearish divergence. So that's something that would kind of caution me if I was going to jump in here. What are you seeing? What do you want to comment on?
Yeah, Cheds. I mean, honestly, we're seeing mixed signals here and there. We are seeing some money flow. We're seeing kind of indecision. Personally, I do believe that Bitcoin probably does have that next little leg in it. I wouldn't be surprised if we do eventually test that, 10,000 zone. But this has several days to play out. We're kind of entering the weekend here. Volume seems to be an issue on the weekend. I believe we bottomed out last Sunday. So we'll kind of see how this weekend plays out. This is kind of an area here now where we're just kind of seeing what happens. What you really want to see is where's the money flow. We keep seeing this slowly decreasing volume come in on Bitcoin. Almost feels like until we get that money flow coming in, it's just not going to be enough to push us there. Let's just take a little quick here at the history right there and see where we kind of are here on the volume. 5.4 billion today. We broke 6 yesterday. I'd love to see a break of 6 today, but we're in the low 6s here for a while. If you go down a little more where we were in February, we were in the $9 billion range daily. That's money flow. That's the volume we're going to want to see. I'm sure it will be there again, but until we're seeing those kind of money flow come in, we're going to be channel bound in this Bitcoin, epic battle. Game of Thrones, if you will, between the bulls and the bears. So right now I'm kind of neutral. I'm kind of waiting to see how this plays out. I'm kind of seeing if I can find something at a cheaper price. I'd love to see Bitcoin reset somewhere in the 8 to 8.2 range. Remember to ladder those buys. Litecoin in the 149 to 153 range. That's a good opportunity there to pick some up, that 150 kind of psychological zone. I think traders will want to see what happens if we get back there. And if we've already bought them for the day and we've missed that, so be it. Bitcoin is 24/7. Crypto is never ending, and because it's never ending, there's always an opportunity to make a great trade. One more thing, great to see all the fans here on the chat. A lot of lively chat tonight. Lots of alts out there. Sorry if we didn't have a chance tonight to talk about yours, but we like to put out as much content as we can, and maybe on tomorrow's broadcast, we could do your all. We'd love to see all you guys here again.
Thanks, guys. That's Big Jonas. He does an excellent job. We love having him here. I am Big Ched coming to you live are on Let's Talk Crypto. This is a community discussion show. Talk about crypto. We want to give you guys a nice clean perspective. Two guys here. We are not advisors. We're just doing this for fun, and we're happy to have you join the fun. And just remember, you guys need to keep working at your craft. You can't just expect to get better in one day. It takes a lot of time, a lot of mistakes, and a lot of hard work, but you're going to get there. Please follow me on Twitter, on YouTube, and make sure to come to the next show. We are happy you guys joined us. Take care.